Chosen ones, the midnight alignment, what God is about to unleash by the end of January. In the quiet suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, where the pine trees whispered secrets to the night wind, lived a woman named Sarah Thompson. She wasn't famous, she wasn't rich, she was just 38, a single mother working double shifts at a hospital cafeteria, raising her 12-year-old son, Elijah, who dreamed of becoming an engineer but struggled with bullies who called him the kid with no dad. Sarah had grown up in a small Baptist church in rural Alabama where her grandmother used to say, "God don't make no mistakes, baby, he takes his time." For years, Sarah had felt like God was taking too much time. She'd prayed through a painful divorce 5 years earlier. She'd prayed when the bills piled up and the car broke down again. She'd prayed when Elijah came home with bruises and tears, asking why God let bad things happen to good people. Every night, she'd kneel by her bed, Bible open to Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you," and whisper, "Lord, when will you move?" The delays felt personal. Promotions passed her by. Relationships fizzled before they started. Doors slammed shut so hard she could still hear the echo. She wondered if she'd been forgotten. Maybe she wasn't one of the chosen ones after all. Maybe those dramatic testimonies on YouTube and TikTok, people talking about sudden breakthroughs, divine alignments, supernatural favor, were for someone else. But deep down, something stirred, a quiet knowing, a verse that kept replaying in her spirit. Habakkuk 2:3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay." Then came January 2026. It started small. On January 15th, Sarah woke up at 3:33 a.m., the same time every night for a week, with the same phrase burning in her heart: "Everything is set." She dismissed it at first, just a dream, but the next night, the same words, and the next. By the 20th, she couldn't ignore it anymore. She opened her Bible app and landed straight on Isaiah 60:22, "I am the Lord, in its time I will hasten it." She felt foolish telling anyone, who would believe her? But she began journaling. She wrote down every coincidence, a random text from an old friend offering a better job lead, Elijah suddenly acing a math test he'd been failing, a check arriving in the mail through exactly the amount she needed for overdue rent. Little pieces are moving, invisible gears turning. On January 25th, during her lunch break, she scrolled through her phone and stumbled on a video titled, "Chosen Ones, You Won't Believe What God is About to Do. Everything is Set for Late January." The speaker's voice was calm but urgent. "What you're seeing isn't random. God said it is all planned for the end of January. The delays you couldn't explain, they were in divine positioning. The doors that refused to open, they were protection. By the final days of January, clarity will replace confusion. The pieces you couldn't see are locking into place." Sarah's hands trembled, tears blurred the screen. It was as if God had whispered directly into her ear through a stranger's voice thousands of miles away. That night, she gathered Elijah on the couch. "Baby," she said, "I think something big is coming. Not because I'm special, but because God keeps his promises. We've waited, we've trusted, now watch." January 28th arrived like any other winter Wednesday, cold, gray, ordinary. Sarah went to work, served mashed potatoes and meatloaf, and smiled through exhaustion. But at 4:17 p.m., her phone buzzed. It was the hospital's HR department, a supervisory position she'd applied 2 months ago, then forgotten about, had reopened. They wanted her, starting February 1st. Double her current pay, benefits, stability. She stared at the email, heart pounding. Before she could process it, another call came. Elijah's school. A national STEM scholarship program had selected him based on a project he submitted quietly last fall. Full ride to a summer engineering camp at Georgia Tech. Full tuition was covered if he continued. Your son has potential. We've never seen the scores like his from someone his age." Sarah sank into a chair in the break room, weeping quietly. Not dramatic sobs, just the deep, grateful release of years held in tension. But the biggest moment came at 11:59 p.m. on January 30th. Sarah couldn't sleep. She sat on her porch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the stars over the Atlanta skyline. Elijah was asleep inside. The neighborhood was silent except for distant traffic. At midnight, exactly the turn into the last hour of January, her phone lit up with a message from her ex-husband, Marcus. They hadn't spoken civilly in years. The text was simple. "I'm sorry for everything. I've been getting help, counseling, church. I want to make things right for you, for Elijah. Not asking to come back, just can we talk? I want to start paying what I owe and be the dad he deserves." Sarah read it 3 times. Then she looked up at the sky and whispered, "You really did it, Lord. Everything was set." In that moment, she understood. The delays weren't punishment, they were preparing. The closed doors were redirection. The long nights of questioning were building faith that couldn't be shaken by quick answers. Across America, that late January night, thousands of ordinary people like Sarah felt the shift. A veteran in Texas received the call he'd waited for, full disability approval after years of appeals. A young entrepreneur in California signed the contract that saved her failing business. A grieving widow in Ohio found peace in a dream where her husband smiled and said, "It's time to live again." They weren't all dramatic miracles. Some were quiet restorations, some were financial turnarounds, some were healed relationships. But the common thread was divine timing. God had been orchestrating in the background, aligning stars, hearts, and circumstances for a single appointed window. Sarah stood up, walked inside, and knelt by Elijah's bed. She placed her hand on his sleeping head and prayed, "Thank you, Father, for the waiting, for the trust, for proving that your plans are good even when we can't see them. We are your chosen ones, not because we're perfect, but because you chose us. And tonight, we believe." Outside, the first hints of February dawn crept over the horizon. A new month, a new season, a new story. And somewhere in the heavenlies, the Father smiled, because everything had indeed been set. The end of January wasn't just a date on the calendar. It was the moment heaven said, "Now." In the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, just outside Denver, Colorado, lived a man named Caleb Harlan. At 42, he looked older, lines etched deep from years of carrying more than any one person should. He'd once been a promising architect, designing homes that families dreamed of growing old in, but life had a way of redrawing blueprints. His wife, Mia, passed suddenly from cancer 4 years earlier, leaving him alone with their 15-year-old daughter, Grace, who now spoke more to her sketchbook than to him. The firm let him go during the layoffs of 2023. Bills stacked like unanswered prayers, foreclosure notices arrived like clockwork. Caleb stopped going to church. The pews felt too empty without Mia's voice beside him singing Amazing Grace. He still prayed, though. Late at night, in the garage he'd converted into a makeshift workshop, surrounded by half-finished models of houses he'd never built. "Lord," he'd whisper, "if I'm one of your chosen ones like those videos say, why does it feel like you passed me over?" The YouTube thumbnails haunted him, glowing titles promising, "Chosen ones, you won't believe what God is about to do. Everything is set for late January." He'd scroll past them at first, skeptical, but desperation makes a man listen. One sleepless night in mid-January 2026, he clicked. The voice on the screen was calm, almost tender. "What you're seeing isn't random. God said it is all planned for the end of January. The delays you couldn't explain, divine positioning. The doors that refuse to open, protection. By the final days of January 2026, clarity will replace confusion. The pieces you couldn't see are locking into place." Caleb paused the video. His heart thudded. He'd been waking at 3:33 a.m. every night for 2 weeks, the same phrase echoing in his mind, "Everything is set." He'd dismissed it as grief playing tricks. Now it felt like a signature. He began to notice the small alignments. On January 18th, Grace came home from school excited about a national art scholarship she'd quietly entered months ago. "Dad, they emailed. They want my portfolio for the finals." Caleb hugged her, fighting tears. That same afternoon, an old college friend he hadn't spoken to in a decade called out of nowhere. "Hey man, I'm heading a new sustainable housing project in Denver. We need someone who thinks like you used to. Interview next week?" Caleb laughed, actually laughed for the first time in months. "God," he prayed that night, "if this is you, don't let me miss it." Across the country, the same quiet symphony played in other lives. In rural Mississippi, a widow named Ruth Jenkins received the deed to land her late husband had fought in court for 20 years. The appeal was suddenly granted on January 22nd. In Seattle, a young veteran named Marcus Reyes, battling PTSD and homelessness, walked into a VA center just as a new program launched, housing, therapy, and job training fully funded. He later told his sponsor, "It was like the calendar flipped and God said, 'Now.'" Back in Colorado, the momentum built. On January 25th, Caleb drove Grace to her interview for the scholarship. The panel was impressed. One judge, an architect herself, recognized Caleb's name from old award submissions. "You disappeared after, well, life happened. We could use mentors like you." By evening, Grace had advanced to nationals. Caleb's phone buzzed again. His old firm's competitor, now a green building leader, offered him a senior position, better pay, flexible hours. "We've been watching your work quietly," the email read. "Timing feels right." But the real turning point came on January 28th, the day the prophets had circled and read. Caleb couldn't sleep. He sat on the back porch under a blanket of stars, the cold biting his fingers as he scrolled through more videos. One after another echoed the same refrain. Late January 2026 is not random. Heaven has finalized decisions, sudden turnarounds, restorations. The wait ends. At 11:47 p.m., his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. "Caleb, this is Dr. Elena Ramirez from the Children's Hospital. I'm calling about your daughter, Grace." His stomach dropped. "Is she okay? She's asleep." "No, emergency. We ran routine blood work from her school physical last fall. Results just came back flagged, but in a good way. Grace has a rare blood marker that makes her a perfect match for a leukemia research trial. They're offering full coverage, treatment, travel, everything if she participates. It could help thousands of kids. And there's a generous stipend for families." Caleb sank to his knees on the frozen wood. "Why now?" "Because God's timing is perfect," Dr. Ramirez said softly. "We've been waiting for the right donor profile. Yours came through the system today." He wept openly then, ugly, grateful sobs. Not just for the money that would stop the foreclosure, not just for the job offers stacking up, but for the sense that Mia's suffering hadn't been wasted. Grace could honor her mother by helping others heal. At exactly midnight, January 29th dawning, his phone lit up again. A text from his estranged brother, Travis, who'd cut ties after a family fight years ago. "Been thinking about you and Grace a lot. Saw the house situation online. I'm wiring what I can to catch you up on payments. And I'm coming to Denver next week. We need to talk, man. I'm really sorry." Caleb stared at the screen. Forgiveness, restoration, pieces locking into place. He walked inside, kissed Grace's forehead as she slept, and knelt by her bed. "Lord," he whispered, "you didn't forget us. You were setting everything up. The pain, the silence, the long nights, it was all preparation. Thank you for choosing us, even when we doubted. Thank you for late January." Across America that night, the chosen ones felt the shift. Not fireworks or earthquakes, just quiet, profound certainty. A single mother in Chicago signed adoption papers for the child she'd fostered for years. A failing farmer in Iowa received an unexpected buyer at triple the land's value, enough to retire debt-free. A pastor in Florida watched his congregation swell as prodigals returned home. They weren't superheroes. They were ordinary believers who'd held on when everything screamed to let go. The prophets were right. God attached a timestamp. Late January 2026 wasn't arbitrary. It was appointed. As February crept in, Caleb stood in his driveway watching the sunrise paint the mountains gold. Grace joined him, sketchbook in hand. "Dad, you okay?" He smiled, really smiled. "Better than okay, sweetheart. We're just getting started." In the heavenlies, the father nodded. The delays had built faith unshakable. The closed doors had protected destinies. The long wait had perfected trust. Everything had indeed been set. For the chosen ones who endured, the breakthrough wasn't coming. It had arrived, right on time.